Hello, Cheers to Business listeners. I'm Ashley Smith, Vice President of Wholesale Pharmacy for DocRx and listener of Cheers to Business. And I want to tell you about the great company I work for. DocRx is a family-oriented company dedicated to tailor operational solutions for patient health and compliance programs that increases the quality and efficiency of patient-centered care, and always with the mission of the patient's health first. With over 10 years of experience helping doctors and their patients with diagnostic tests, patient monitoring, medical supplies, compliance, wholesale pharmacy, physician dispensing, billing, and much more. DocRx is your patient and health compliance solution, both under one roof. To find out how DocRx can help you, your hospital, pharmacy, physician's offices, and any PPE you need for your businesses, please visit us at docrx.com. That's docrx.com, docrx.com. Now enjoy the show.
I would have to say Brandon Maye would be AKA the cleanup man. I like to take things that are super, super dirty, beat up, that somebody's spitting on, saying it won't be nothing, and bring it back to life. You look at my pressure washing business, the home and the commercial buildings, they're dirty when I come in. When they leave, they're clean. If you look at the real estate investing I do with flipping homes, they're homes that multiple people have passed on. And I say, hey, look, you see that home over there? I want to take it and I want to bring it back to life. And I give it value. And one day that becomes somebody else's possession and they love on it so much. So that's why I call myself the diamond in the rough, the underdog guy. I like to take that beat up thing and build it up.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Today we're going to have part 1 of 2. Mr. Brandon Maye's on the show and he's going to talk about his football days at Clemson and going from the football field to the business field. This is a man who leads by example. We're going to talk about his highest of highs and his lowest of lows and how to climb back out of that. And go ahead and get some tissues ready because people know I say I don't cry, but my eyes leak during this one. It is heartfelt. And trust me, you don't want to miss this. Hey, I'm Karen. I'm a former CPA, entrepreneur, business consultant with big ideas.
Welcome to Cheers to Business.
Brandon Maye, welcome to the show.
Miss Karen, thank you for having me. I think it's perfect timing, God's timing. That's how we met. I'm just excited to be on your show, and thank you so much for having me on here. And I look forward to speaking with your audience.
People's stories amaze me. I got to watch businesses for 30 years now and watching the different things of what instills people. I'm sorry, it's not easy for anybody, but it seems like those who have it a little tougher, they climb harder. And I see that in you.
Yes, ma'am. I just try to be grateful. Try to be grateful every day that I get an opportunity to live. I look at the perspective. My perspective every day is totally based on God bless me with another day. Now more than ever during this pandemic and the coronavirus, people are really starting to catch on to that concept. I think I was birthed with that mindset that every day is a blessing. Every day is a gift. And we must take it as a blessing and a gift. And everything else is extra. The cars, the clothes, the house, all the other things are extra. But having a personal relationship with Christ and understanding that this is a gift. This is a day for me to make other people's better. This is a day for me to serve other people. This is a day for me to be who I'm called to be, and who I'm called to be is just a servant, just passing through this world, So just my perspective on things have really got me to this point.
To be blessed, you have to give back. I'm sorry. If you don't give back, I believe in karma and I believe in God, and, you do good, you receive good, but if you don't do anything, you don't get anything. You don't do it to get something. You do it because it's right. It just happens that way. All right. So let's go back to the beginning. We kind of hit right in the middle of where we are now, because I want to talk about the past, the present, and then the future.
I like that. The past, present, and future. Yeah, I like that. So the past would be the beginning. I was born and raised in Pritchard, Alabama, in a 2-bedroom house. I tell people all the time, on any given night, there was 15 people. That's the way my mom and my grandma was. They opened the doors for cousins and nieces and everybody else. And so we was just happy. We was a happy family growing up in this area. As you know, Pritchard is a great area. People don't know that. It's actually a great area. There's a lot of great athletes come out of Pritchard, a lot of great educators and much more come out of Pritchard. But we were surrounded by gun violence and killings and drugs and every single thing that you can imagine under the sun. being an inner city kid, and you have a choice to make. You have a choice to go in a positive way or a negative. And I think the biggest thing for us is we had the guidance of my mom and my stepdad, who was a military guy. And so he brought a lot of discipline in, and he really helped me and my three little sisters stay on the right path. And our main thing was being committed to greatness and excellence, despite what it looks like, despite the circumstances, despite the present. We want to look forward. You said the past, the present, and the future. We want to look in the future, and we try to make sure that we're good in the present. So just grew up in that 2-bedroom house, 15 people. And most of the people in my family was high school dropouts. Really didn't see past high school and probably didn't see the meaning of high school. But I just wanted to be something a little bit different. I wanted to make sure that I was setting my family up for a legacy to change the trajectory and the mindset of the individuals that come behind me. I think that's important in life, for us to be in a position where we focus on those individuals that has come before us and that would come behind us. You know, my sisters, their kids, they can look back and look at a picture and say, oh yeah, and 2016 or 2017 or whatever year it may be, that young man by the name of Brandon Maye, he changed the trajectory of our family. And that's what I was committed to. So, you know, we grew up in Pritchard, but we was committed to greatness. So many young people around us didn't have the same guidance. And you can kind of see what path they went in life opposed to me and my sisters. My mom got four college graduates, and we all come out of that 2-bedroom house of 15 people. So kudos to her and my stepdad and my grandma for actually taking on the mission to making sure that me and my sister stayed on the right path.
So how'd you go from there to the happy house with 15 people and 2 bedrooms to be a linebacker for Clemson on a scholarship?
Commitment to excellence, making up in your mind that I'm going to be the first one in and the last one out. When I say that, I mean, in your job, you're the first one in and the last one out to leave that facility because you're committed to excellence. We committed ourselves to, and I say we, being me and my stepdad, because he told me, he said, look, football is cool, but we really want to be like the pimp of football. Like, we want to pimp football.
That's awesome.
Want to pimp football. In my vision of pimp, like coming from Pritchard, you see the beat up Cadillac, the purple truck, and then the old man get out with the long robe on. So
don't forget the hat. Don't forget the hat.
The tango hat, right? So I'm looking at him. I'm like, you sure you really want me to pimp football? So I took on that vision of pimping football so that I can get a full scholarship. And I figured if I got a full scholarship to go to college, then I got an opportunity to make it to the NFL. And growing up where I'm from, it's either NFL. I'm just gonna be real with you. It's either NFL or your mindset is saying, I got to get the fast money, and that's drugs and being in an environment where you can take care of your family, right? That's our assignment. Like, our assignment as young men growing up in Pritchard is to take care of our family. And my way of doing that was saying, I'm going to pimp football and I'm going to get a free education. But not only that, I'm going to go to the NFL.
But you didn't. You stayed to continue your education. Do you know how cool that is? It's easy to go for the quick dollar. But you stayed because you were dedicated to getting a master's degree, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I stayed. I had an opportunity to jump ship and go to the NFL my junior year, and my grandma had congestive heart failure. So 2 things are very important to me in this world. And
can I stop you for just a second, just to say, because I want to hear about your grandma. But you finished your bachelor's your junior year while playing the ACC. Is that right?
Right.
So
you got it.
That's a full schedule right there, and you finished your degree in 3 years. All right, so then you found out about your grandma.
Mindset, Miss Karen. It's all mindset. It's looking past current circumstances, and I will call it circumstances being that I got to get 12 hours of study hall a week. I got to go to class, and I got to perform on the freaking football field, watch film, and remember every single guy that's moving around and be the middle linebacker to the team as 90,000 people are screaming in the stands. And I can't really hear, but I got to get everybody lined up and I got to focus on this one task. So it's all mindset, saying that, okay, coach said I need 10 hours of study hall, but in order for me to excel at a high level, I need to get about 15 to 20 hours to separate. In my mind, I've always been looking for an edge. You can be average and you can live an average life and you can die average death, right? You can have a barrier and they can say, oh, that's his grave. I want them to say that's a monument. That's a monument. When I see Brandon Maye, that's definitely a monument. Like, I want people to have to travel in and say that's a monument. That's my mindset. My mindset is to live at such a level in such a way that people that come behind me can say, if he did it, then I can do it. That's creating hope. And so that's the way I approach the classroom. That's the way I approach my film study. That's the way I approach study hall, right?
Well, this is the way you approach businesses now. I can see that just in your social platform. So you've taken that. So what's 3 pieces of advice you give people for keeping that mindset, and especially when they're trying to be an entrepreneur?
I would say the first one is purpose. Understanding your purpose. What's your purpose? Why do you do what you do? A man that doesn't have purpose is a dangerous man because he's a helpless man. He can't go out. He can't produce anything. A man that understands his purpose, or a woman that understands their purpose every single day, they got an opportunity to be great. After purpose, I would say, what are you willing to give up to go up, right? What are you willing to give up to go up? Because you're going to have to lose some friends. You're going to have to give up some party time. You have to give up some things to actually go up. And then number 3, chase it with every single thing you got in your body, knowing that every day is considered every second can be considered your last moment. So I have to chase it. I have to stay humble. I have to stay committed to excellence, and I have to stay grateful for every blessing that I receive. Those are the 3 things that I would tell an individual if they're looking to take their life to the next level and actually maximize the life that they have here on earth.
Honey, now I know why you're a motivational speaker, as well as everything else. Man, that was so cool. So then, because of your grandmother, you go to Mississippi State.
Yeah, so I went from the 2-bedroom house. My mom, dad worked extremely hard, got us moved out to West Mobile. I was about 15 years old. Started playing ball at Municipal Park and really started falling in love with football. My whole mindset has been, all right, I got to get my grades right because I got to play football so I can make it to the NFL. So my mom would never want for nothing. Like, I told my mom her whole life, like, hey, look, one day I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I've made those commitments to my mom. So I'm driven by that. That's my purpose. I'm driven by actually fulfilling those commitments to my mom. So we get over to Davidson. I was a 2-star recruit my junior year. I really didn't play. I was always the underdog. That's why my book is entitled Diamond in the Rough. I was always the guy they said least likely to succeed, one of those type of guys, but we'll work hard. Least likely to succeed, but we'll work extremely hard. Got to Clemson, had an All-American freshman year, and kind of just went all the way to the top, the valley, right? No, the valley would be the low points. I went all the way to the peak of the mountain, something like that. And I had a decision to make. My junior year, I turned in my grades to go to the NFL, and they grade you on a scale. And I had a second and third round grade, meaning basically an instant millionaire. And I said, you know what? I could take the money right now, or I can go back and get my master's degree. And it really got easy when I received a phone call from my mom that my grandma had congestive heart failure. So family is very important. I said earlier, there's 2 things important to me. Family is number 1. Number 2 is making sure that I can come back to Mobile one day and the kids can say, Brandon Maye, tattoos and dreadlocks. If he can do it, I can definitely do it. So I made a decision to stay for my senior year. I transferred to get closer to home, went to Mississippi State, which made it easy and accessible for me to drive down to Mobile to see my grandma. You know, I didn't really know what was going on. I knew she had congestive heart failure. So I played my senior year at Mississippi State. And once again, I was faced with a big challenge. I hurt my Achilles in fall camp. And I said to myself, surely nothing in this moment has happened that can alter the commitment that I made to my mom, that when I make it to the NFL, she'll never want for nothing. And make a long story short, it altered my career. It altered the way that I was thinking. I actually hit rock bottom. So I went from the top to
wait. What'd you get your undergrad in and what'd you get your master's in?
My undergraduate was sociology and my master's degree was human resources. Everything was always dealing with humans and the thoughts of a human.
That's cool. Okay. So you pick back up where I interrupted you. I'm so sorry.
In fall camp, I wanted to start a position at Mississippi State. They didn't give me anything. The coach is Coach Dan Mullen, who's now the head coach at Florida. And he made me work for it. He made me work again. So I felt like a rookie again coming into somebody else's territory. Like, you're talking about a team that's been together for 3 or 4 years, and now this 3-year starter from Clemson is coming over to the SEC, and he's getting ready to try to compete with our guys and knock somebody off and become the actual starter on our team. So I had to earn the respect of that team really, really fast. I only had 4 months at Mississippi State. So I became the starter in fall camp the third week. And then I had an Achilles injury. And I really didn't know at the time that it would be such devastation. And I played that whole senior year, bandaged up, depressed, pain pills at night, came to practice, and I really didn't know who I was. I lost myself. I lost myself in the moment. And all I could think of is I told my mom that one day that when I make it to this NFL, this little thing called NFL, that you would never want for nothing. So I played my whole senior year with a lot of regret, a lot of depression, a lot of fear, a lot of doubt, really didn't know what was going to happen. After that senior year, got ready for the actual draft. I did everything as if I was healthy. I went through all the training to get ready for the pro day, which is when the scouts come in and they look over you and stuff and figure out, hey, if this guy can play, go to the NFL. I did all those things that would position me to go to the NFL. And the night of the draft came, and I felt like that was my crashing point. That was the moment where I lost who Brandon Maye was and really what I was called to do. I thought I knew my purpose. I thought my purpose was NFL, and God was like, no, you think you know. And I'm sitting up here and I'm laughing at you because you think you know what your purpose is. And a lot of people that's watching this or hearing this right now, you think you know what your purpose is, but God may have a whole different atmosphere or a whole different area that he want to push.
I think that's part of what this pandemic's about. I think people had their mindset and it was so fixed in what they thought they should do. And now all of a sudden it ain't working that way anymore. And your life just turned upside down. So you need to find out and listen. And I've always said that, that's why it rains and thunders so much in Mobile is because that's God laughing. Every time I think I try to tell him what my plan is, he is laughing.
Yeah. But everybody, if you haven't experienced that, I feel like faith is produced by experience. So if you haven't experienced the goodness of God, you haven't experienced him actually having you on a path and then turning your path and making you turn on this street and say, no, this is your purpose, then sometimes, you may have a problem with actually understanding that.
No, it can get dark. I've changed my career a couple of times and it's so deep and it can be dark. And how did you get from that darkness to writing the book, Diamond in the Rough?
Yeah, rock bottom. I fell on my face, directly on my face. It was the night of the NFL draft, and me and my family, we was there and we was looking at the draft, and they went with the first pick. I think that year it was Cam Newton, and then they kind of went from there, first round, second round, third round, fourth, 7 rounds in the NFL draft. So they got to the last pick of the 7th round, and my name wasn't called. And that night, about 30 minutes afterwards, you usually have like free agents start getting called on and people started signing people with free agents. And my name wasn't called or my phone didn't ring. And I was like, man, what's going on? So I remember sitting in this room with my mom and my grandma, my family members, and I'm just replaying in my head that I told my mom, I made a commitment to my mom that I was going to do these things, and it's a possibility that it won't become a reality. And in that moment, I got into the car, and I've shared this story all over the country now. I got into the car, and it was the car that my mom sacrificed to buy while I was in college. She was like, hey, if you go make college All-American or something like that, I will buy you a car. And I knew she had scrambled to make it happen. Of course, my mom worked extremely hard. By this time, she was a nurse, but I got 3 sisters too. So I knew she was making a sacrifice, and that's what she's all about. And I got in this car, drove by my elementary, my middle school, and then my high school. And then I went on what you call the darkness, right? That dark path in life where like the pandemic, like it's people that's losing their life right now. Their family members are going down a dark hole where all of a sudden Monday, your family member was here, and on Thursday, you're getting ready to bury them and nobody's there to even see them during this moment. Like you're hitting rock bottom, and I hit rock bottom. I hit the point where I didn't want to live no more, where I didn't see my purpose. I lost my mind. I basically was in the point of like, hey, look, this is it. And I got on this bridge and I drove and I I thought about it. And I said, you know what? I think the best spot for me at this point would be off earth. I felt like a failure. And I sat there for a moment and I beat the steering wheel and I cried and I cried and I cried. And I remember telling my mom in this 2-bedroom home that, hey, look, when I make it to the NFL, you'll never want for nothing. And I remember the days she would come to Clemson and she would work all day, and her and my stepdad, they would work all day and they would get in that car and they would drive all night to see me play at Clemson. And I just wanted to reward them. And I remember pressing the gas pedal to drive my car off the bridge, and my car cuts off. And then I heard the voice of God say to me, "It's more than I require of you. You thought you knew your purpose and calling, but there's more than I require of you." And that was the lowest of the lowest. I went through post-traumatic stress, went to multiple doctors to make sure that I wasn't having any brain problems. And just that one day, God said, "You know what, young man, I'm gonna touch you." And I remember sitting on the bed in my grandma's room, and she said, "Ida, my grandma, 70-something years old at the time, she said, you have a decision to make." She said, you can die with the dream, or you can choose to live." And I picked myself up. I wrote the book, In Devastation, with a cast on my leg. And I wrote every single word, every single emotion in it, from the top to the bottom. And I looked up, I was a published author. So I let my pain go in that book. And here I am now, doing the work of the Lord.
All right, I'm sitting here bawling. Thank you. People close to me that have been to that dark place, and the front of the car went over the bridge, symbolically. They came back. I know two that didn't. Johnny and I did a series of Get Back Up. Once you get to that dark place, and there was a musician on, Abe. Abe has a very similar story to yours. Not his wasn't football. His was a Baptist preacher. And then it went dark, and then he came back. Anybody struggling right now with either death around them or death in their head, I so encourage you to reach out to God first. But sometimes you need somebody to help make the connection. So anyway, thank you for allowing me this moment.
I would tell any single individual that this life is a journey. And in the journey, you got your light and you have your dark. And what I need you to do in your mind is to say to yourself, no matter how low I get, no matter how high I get, I never give up. I never give in. I never stop living. If there was a gift that God has given us, why would I give up the gift that God has given me? And I really didn't get this perspective until I got on the other side. So I feel in my spirit that somebody is watching or listening to this podcast, and you're getting ready to give up. You're getting ready to give in. You got a phone call. I'm a guy that has experienced coronavirus directly. Every single person, my mom, my dad, my sister, each one of us, we had coronavirus in July of last year. And we went through all the symptoms. And my dad actually was in a really, really bad spot. And we just made a commitment to each other that we're going to keep fighting. We weren't going to give up. Some people don't get that opportunity, though. Some people go in and they have to get on the ventilator and they don't return. And their family right now may be listening to this podcast. I want you to know that to keep going, because that's what that's what he will want you to do. Don't stop. Don't give up. Don't give in.
This may sound cliche, and we're talking about lives, but it's that way in business. It's that way in your relationships. It's that way in every facet of your life. You have to give that much. All right. Everybody that's been on this show that's written a book, I have that book and they've signed it. Where can I buy your book?
You don't have to buy it. I'll give it to you.
Well, no, I like to pay. I appreciate that. But tell the listeners where they can find your book.
We actually is doing a new re-edit of the book. We actually got the new manuscript done. And so we're reproducing the book. But you can connect with me on my website at brandonmaye.org. That's BRANDONMAYE.org. And it's a form on there. If you type your name and number into the form, then I will be able to send you a copy of the book once we get the new book printed. Okay,
awesome. I'm going to go do that as soon as we get done with this show. Now I sound all nasally because I got emotional.
This is powerful. Someone needs to hear this. Somebody was about to give up until they heard this. So yeah, definitely. Let's let God, like they said in the old Holiness Pentecostal church, let's let God have his way.
Lay out the red carpet. Go ahead. Give me what you will. Your will be done.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I think I first reached out to you and invited you to a Rotary luncheon because I was excited about what you were doing with the local schools here. So talk about your foundation a little bit.
So my first foundation is at the birthing point. We just getting started. I got about 4 board members, and we just committed ourselves to doing philanthropist work here in the city. We're new. We're grooming ourselves. There's some things we don't know right now. Some things we're trying to figure out. We're trying to get more volunteer, more team, more donors. But in order for us to get that, then we must have a clear perspective of who we are and what we're looking to do, right? We must have a clear game plan of that. So we're working right now on the game plan. I know that I want to be involved with the character development of the youth in the city, entrepreneurship in the city, because there's some kids right now that's in school that's not like huge, like are big on going to school every day, but they're amazing business owners. Under all that crap, like going to class and going to sleep in the class, they are amazing business owners.
I tell you who else I want to do, and I'm sorry I keep interrupting you, but I get excited. No, is the people that I do the hashtag get a trade all the time because I think welders are artists and people like that. And if you have a trade, you may not know how to be in business. And so there's an educational avenue too. Now, one thing I thought of when I saw the word foundation is just food for thought. I'm not giving advice. I'm not a CPA anymore. I am a consultant, but look at the differences and pros and cons and write them down. A foundation versus nonprofit, 501c3, because the foundations have different rules than nonprofits. So I just want to put that little bee in your bonnet too.
Right. Yeah, we definitely got. So when we get off this call, me and you hopping on another call. So we just doing work in the city. There's nothing specific that we're doing right now. We did some things back in Christmas time where we target a school in the Pritchard community, and we gave back to the babies. We had 7 families, 19 kids. We bought the whole Christmas list, and we had so many people partner up with us. We had a whole group of people that just blessed us, right? So we want to do those things throughout the year, different little events for the kids. Also, we want to do character development, education, entrepreneurship. We got to find a way to get all this kind of wrapped up and tangled up and make it into developing programs. I want to have 2 or 3 programs that we do year round. And we want to do a facility like LeBron James. I want to open a school one day here in the city where we have after school program, teach kids how to do entrepreneurship. So if there's any business owners out there that's listening to us right now, you want to be a part of this, then definitely go to the website and connect with me so we can make that happen.
Okay. And that's the Brandon Maye Foundation, right?
BrandonMaye.org. That's the website.
That's the website to go to. All right. Now.
Yeah, the Brandon Maye Legacy Foundation. Yep.
All right. I'm going to put in a thing right here to say to be continued just because of time limitations for the podcast. Will you come back in 3 weeks and let's finish the story?
Let's do it again.
Brandon, please tell us what your companies are. What are the social media channels? What are the contacts? How do people learn more about you and what you're doing?
I'm definitely scaling back on some of the things because I want to be effective. So I'm not trying to do everything. I want to go deeper into 1 or 2 things. So what I will say is the website, of course, you can connect with me, www.brandonmaye.org, or you can go to Facebook, Instagram, and just type in Brandon Maye. I should pop up. And I would love to speak with you. I love to connect with you. And hopefully we can do some work here in this world together.
Brandon Maye, cheers to you. Cheers to the excitement and depth of emotion that you instill in people with your story and you as a person. You are a good man.
Yes, man. To God be the glory. I'm just a vessel. Thank you.
Please be sure to subscribe to Cheers to Business podcast on iTunes or anywhere else that you get your podcast. Visit our Facebook and be sure to give us a like. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to discuss, shoot us an email from the website cheerstobusiness.com.